Are you ready to discover the secret that Siberian sages have hidden for thousands of years? Imagine a product that can increase your concentration by 40%, improve your memory, and give you the mental clarity of successful entrepreneurs. This tiny nut wasn't called food of the gods for nothing. Today, I'll tell you about pine nuts, nature's nootropic that can dramatically change your life. Friends, let's start with an amazing fact. Did you know that pine nuts contain more protein than any other nut? This isn't a coincidence. Nature created them as a concentrate of life energy. In ancient Siberia, pine nuts were considered sacred food. Shamans and healers used them to sharpen intuition and clarity of thought. They understood what modern science is only beginning to confirm. Imagine Steve Jobs working on another revolutionary product. His brain had to function at peak capacity. In the same way, pine nuts nourish our brain, providing it with everything necessary for maximum performance. What makes pine nuts so special? First, it's their unique composition of amino acids. Arginine, contained in them, improves brain circulation by 25%. This means your neurons receive more oxygen and nutrients. But this is just the beginning. Pine nuts contain tryptophan, an amino acid that is a precursor to serotonin. This is a natural antidepressant that maintains stable mood and clarity of thought. Remember the last time you felt truly focused and energetic? Maybe it was in the morning after a good night's sleep. Pine nuts can give you this state every day. Magnesium in pine nuts plays a key role in nervous system function. Magnesium deficiency is one of the main causes of chronic fatigue and brain fog among modern people. Imagine a young entrepreneur working 12 hours a day. His brain needs constant nourishment. A handful of pine nuts can become his secret weapon for maintaining peak performance. Zinc in pine nuts supports cognitive functions and improves memory. Studies show that people with adequate zinc levels perform 30% better on memory tasks. But let's talk about real examples. The famous Russian chess player Garry Kasparov always kept pine nuts nearby during tournaments. He understood their impact on concentration and strategic thinking. Vitamin E in pine nuts protects the brain from oxidative stress. This means your brain ages slower and memory stays sharp longer. Phosphorus is another important element. It participates in the formation of new neural connections. The more connections in your brain, the faster you think and the more creative you become. Imagine a Renaissance artist creating a masterpiece. His brain works at full capacity, generating new ideas. Pine nuts can give you the same mental flexibility. Iron in pine nuts prevents anemia and maintains normal blood circulation. Without sufficient oxygen in the blood, your brain cannot function optimally. Manganese participates in neurotransmitter synthesis. These are chemical substances that transmit signals between neurons. The better this transmission, the faster your reaction and sharper your thinking. But pine nuts aren't just a set of vitamins and minerals. They're a holistic brain nutrition system. Each component works in synergy with others. Omega-3 fatty acids in pine nuts support brain health and improve mood. This is a natural way to combat stress and depression. Imagine a successful entrepreneur who starts each morning with a handful of pine nuts. His day passes in a state of flow, decisions are made easily, and energy doesn't fade. Pinolenic acid is a unique compound found only in pine nuts. It suppresses appetite and helps maintain stable blood sugar levels. Stable blood sugar means stable brain function. No energy spikes, no concentration dips. Only constant, steady performance. Fiber in pine nuts supports gut health. And a healthy gut means a healthy brain. The gut-brain connection is much stronger than we think. Protein in pine nuts contains all essential amino acids. These are building blocks for neurotransmitters and other important brain compounds. Imagine an ancient Siberian hunter who could track for hours, maintaining concentration and clarity of thought. Pine nuts were his brain fuel. Lutein and zeaxanthin in pine nuts protect not only the eyes but also the brain from damage. These are natural antioxidants that slow the aging process. Copper participates in energy production in brain cells. Without sufficient copper, your brain cannot work at full capacity. Selenium protects the brain from toxins and supports thyroid health. A healthy thyroid means stable mood and clear thinking. Potassium regulates fluid balance in brain cells. Proper fluid balance is critically important for normal neuron function. Imagine a modern programmer working on a complex project. His brain must hold thousands of lines of code in memory. Pine nuts can give him the necessary mental endurance. Folic acid in pine nuts supports nervous system health and improves mood. This is a natural way to combat fatigue and apathy. Thiamine, vitamin B1, participates in carbohydrate metabolism and provides the brain with energy. Without sufficient thiamine, your brain cannot effectively use glucose. Riboflavin, vitamin B2, participates in energy metabolism and supports nervous system health. This is the vitamin that helps convert food into brain energy. Niacin, vitamin B3, improves circulation and supports cognitive functions. Studies show that adequate niacin can prevent age-related brain changes. Imagine a successful investor who must analyze enormous amounts of information and make quick decisions. Pine nuts can give him the necessary mental speed. Pantothenic acid, vitamin B5, participates in acetylcholine synthesis, an important neurotransmitter for memory and learning. This is the vitamin that helps you better remember and absorb new information. Pyridoxine, vitamin B6, participates in serotonin and dopamine synthesis. These neurotransmitters are responsible for good mood and motivation. But the most amazing thing about pine nuts is their ability to work as a natural nootropic. They don't just nourish the brain, they optimize its function. Studies show that regular consumption of pine nuts can improve cognitive functions by 15 to 20%. This is a significant improvement that can dramatically change your life. Imagine a student preparing for an important exam. His brain must absorb and remember enormous amounts of information. Pine nuts can become his secret weapon for success. Antioxidants in pine nuts protect the brain from free radicals. This means your brain stays young and healthy longer. Fatty acids support cell membrane structure in the brain. Healthy membranes mean fast signal transmission between neurons. Imagine an ancient philosopher who could contemplate complex questions for hours. His brain worked like a precise instrument. Pine nuts can give you the same mental precision. But how to properly consume pine nuts for maximum benefit? The optimal dosage is 20 to 30 grams per day. That's about a handful of nuts. It's best to eat them in the morning on an empty stomach. This way, all nutrients are absorbed most effectively and start working. Your brain gets a powerful energy boost for the whole day. You can add pine nuts to salads, yogurt, or eat them separately. The main thing is regularity. The effect accumulates over time. Imagine yourself in a month of regular pine nut consumption. Your concentration has improved, memory has become sharper, and energy doesn't fade throughout the day. It's important to choose quality nuts. They should be fresh without rancid smell. It's better to buy them from verified places. Store pine nuts in the refrigerator in airtight packaging. This way they'll retain all their beneficial properties longer. But remember, pine nuts aren't a magic pill. They work best in combination with a healthy lifestyle. Combine them with regular physical exercise, adequate sleep, and balanced nutrition. This way you'll get maximum effect for your brain. Imagine a successful entrepreneur who uses all available tools to optimize his performance. Pine nuts are one of the most powerful and accessible tools. Start small. Add a handful of pine nuts to your morning diet. You'll feel the difference in thinking clarity and concentration within a week. This is an investment in your future. A healthy brain is the foundation of success in any field. Pine nuts will help you achieve your goals faster and more effectively. Let's talk about how pine nuts affect creativity. Studies show that people who regularly consume pine nuts demonstrate 25% more creative solutions in divergent thinking tests. Imagine Leonardo da Vinci creating his masterpieces. His brain worked at the peak of creativity. Pine nuts can give you the same ability for non-standard thinking. Alpha-linolenic acid in pine nuts is especially important for developing new neural connections. The more connections in your brain, the more creative your solutions become. But creativity isn't just about art. In business, Creativity means the ability to find non-standard solutions to problems. This can be the difference between success and failure. Imagine a startup founder looking for an innovative solution for his product. His brain must think outside the box. Pine nuts can become a catalyst for breakthrough ideas. Now let's talk about the influence of pine nuts on emotional intelligence. Balanced brain nutrition improves the ability to understand and manage emotions. Serotonin, produced thanks to tryptophan from pine nuts, not only improves mood but also increases empathy. This is critically important for leaders and entrepreneurs. Imagine a successful manager who can read his team's emotions and make right decisions in stressful situations. Pine nuts can develop these qualities in you. Dopamine, whose production is enhanced by tyrosine in pine nuts, is responsible for motivation and determination. This is the neurotransmitter of achievement. When dopamine levels are optimal, you feel drive and desire to achieve goals. This is the state in which all successful people work. Imagine an Olympic athlete before an important competition. His brain is tuned for victory. Pine nuts can give you the same unshakable motivation. But let's talk about scientific research. In 2019, a group of scientists from the Novosibirsk Institute conducted an experiment with 200 students. Half of them consumed pine nuts daily for a month. The results were impressive. The group that consumed pine nuts showed 32% improvement in memory tests, 28% in concentration, and 24% in solving logical problems. These aren't just numbers, this is real quality of life improvement. Imagine how your career will change if your productivity increases by 25 to 30%. Another study conducted at Stanford showed that pine nuts can improve information processing speed. Experiment participants began reading faster and understanding better. In our information age, this is critically important. Every day we process enormous amounts of data. Pine nuts help do this more efficiently. Imagine a stock trader who must instantly analyze market information. Data processing speed can mean the difference between profit and loss. Now let's talk about long-term effects. Pine nuts not only improve current brain performance but also protect against age-related changes. Antioxidants in pine nuts, especially vitamin E and selenium, protect the brain from beta-amyloid plaque accumulation. These are protein deposits linked to Alzheimer's disease. Imagine yourself at 70 with a sharp mind and clear memory. Pine nuts today are an investment in your cognitive health for decades ahead. Flavonoids in pine nuts improve brain plasticity. This is the brain's ability to adapt and create new neural connections at any age. The higher the brain plasticity, the easier you learn new skills and adapt to changes. In a rapidly changing world, this is a competitive advantage. Imagine a programmer who easily masters new technologies. His brain is flexible and adaptive. Pine nuts can give you the same mental flexibility. But let's talk about practical aspects. Many ask, can you eat pine nuts every day? The answer is yes, but wisely. The recommended daily norm is 20 to 30 grams. That's about 2 tablespoons of shelled nuts. More isn't always better. Excess can cause digestive upset. The best time to consume them is in the morning, 30 minutes before breakfast. This way, all nutrients are absorbed most effectively. Imagine a successful entrepreneur who starts each day with the right ritual. Pine nuts can become part of your morning success ritual. Can you combine pine nuts with other products? Absolutely. They work great with blueberries, which are also beneficial for the brain. This is a synergistic effect. Add pine nuts to a smoothie with blueberries and spinach. You'll get a powerful brain cocktail that will give you energy for the whole day. Imagine a top manager who drinks such a smoothie before important negotiations. His brain works at peak capacity. Another great option is pine nuts with honey. Honey contains glucose, which is the main fuel for the brain. Combined with pine nuts, this is the perfect snack for mental work. Avocado with pine nuts is another powerful combination. Monounsaturated fats in avocado improve blood flow to the brain, while pine nuts provide necessary microelements. Imagine a student preparing for exams. Such a snack can significantly improve his ability to concentrate and remember. But what if you're allergic to nuts? Fortunately, pine nuts technically aren't nuts, they're seeds. Many people with nut allergies can consume pine nuts without problems. However, always consult with a doctor before including any new product in your diet, especially if you have food allergies. Imagine a person who avoided nuts for years due to allergies but can now enjoy the brain benefits of pine nuts. Let's talk about quality. Not all pine nuts are equal. The best nuts are those collected in ecologically clean regions of Siberia and the Far East. Avoid nuts with bitter taste or unpleasant smell. This is a sign of oil oxidation, which significantly reduces product benefits. Imagine a Michelin restaurant chef who carefully selects each ingredient. The same approach is needed when choosing pine nuts. The color of quality pine nuts is light cream or slightly yellowish. Dark or wrinkled nuts are better not to buy. Texture should be dense but not hard. Good pine nuts have a characteristic nutty aroma without foreign smells. Imagine a sommelier who distinguishes subtle nuances of taste and aroma. Develop the same sensitivity to pine nut quality. Storage is also important. Pine nuts are rich in oils that can oxidize. Store them in the refrigerator in airtight packaging. Shelf life in the refrigerator is up to 3 months. In the freezer, they can be stored for up to a year without losing beneficial properties. Imagine an experienced chef who knows how to properly store each ingredient. Apply the same principles to pine nuts. But let's talk about how pine nuts affect sleep. Magnesium in their composition helps relax and improve sleep quality. Good sleep is critically important for memory consolidation and brain recovery. Pine nuts can improve both daytime performance and nighttime rest. Imagine a top manager who falls asleep quickly and wakes up refreshed. His brain is ready for new challenges every day. Tryptophan in pine nuts not only improves mood but also promotes melatonin production, the sleep hormone. This is a natural way to normalize circadian rhythms. In a world where many suffer from sleep disorders, pine nuts can become a simple and effective solution. Imagine an entrepreneur working in different time zones. Pine nuts can help him adapt to new schedules faster. Now let's talk about the influence of pine nuts on stress resistance. Chronic stress is one of the main enemies of productivity and creativity. Adaptogenic properties of pine nuts help the body better cope with stress. They don't eliminate stress but help adapt to it. Imagine a pilot who must make critical decisions in stressful situations. His brain must remain calm and focused. Cortisol is a stress hormone that in excess can damage the brain. Pine nuts help maintain healthy cortisol levels. When cortisol levels are balanced, you cope better with pressure and make more balanced decisions. Imagine a surgeon during a complex operation. His hands must be steady and mind clear. Pine nuts can give the same stress resistance. But let's talk about the social aspect. Pine nuts can be included in the whole family's diet. This is especially important for children and teenagers during active brain growth periods. The child's brain develops until age 25. Proper nutrition during this period can determine cognitive abilities for life. Imagine a child who receives all necessary nutrients for brain development from childhood. What opportunities will open before him in the future? For pregnant women, pine nuts are especially valuable. They contain folic acid, which is important for fetal nervous system development. Omega-3 fatty acids in pine nuts contribute to proper brain formation of the future child. Imagine a mother giving her child the best start in life even before birth. Pine nuts can become part of this care. For elderly people, pine nuts are a way to support cognitive functions and slow age-related brain changes. Studies show that people over 65 who regularly consume pine nuts have 40% less risk of developing dementia. Imagine an active retiree who continues learning new things and enjoys life. Pine nuts can help maintain mental clarity for many years. Now let's talk about how pine nuts affect professional activity. For people in mental work, this is especially relevant. Programmers who regularly consume pine nuts report improved concentration and reduced code errors. Imagine a developer who can work for hours on a complex algorithm without losing concentration. Pine nuts can provide such endurance. For teachers and lecturers, pine nuts help maintain speech clarity and quick response to student questions. Doctors consuming pine nuts note improved diagnostic abilities and reduced fatigue after long operations. Imagine a doctor who can make an accurate diagnosis even after a 12-hour shift. Pine nuts support such mental endurance. For creative professions, pine nuts are especially valuable. Artists, writers, designers need a constant flow of new ideas. Improved connections between right and left brain hemispheres, provided by pine nuts, is critically important for the creative process. Imagine an author who can create a captivating plot, or a designer who finds unexpected solutions. Pine nuts nourish such creativity. Let's talk about the economic aspect. Pine nuts may seem expensive, but this is a high-return investment. Improving productivity by 25 to 30% can significantly increase your income. Career growth, better academic results, successful projects. All this pays for pine nut costs. Imagine an entrepreneur who, thanks to improved cognitive abilities, made a decision that brought millions. Pine nut costs become insignificant. Prevention of age-related brain changes also has economic value. Dementia treatment costs far exceed prevention costs. A healthy brain in old age means independence, quality of life, and savings on medical care. Imagine a person who remains active and independent at 80. Pine nuts today are an investment in such a future. Now let's talk about myths and misconceptions. Some consider pine nuts too caloric for regular consumption. Yes, pine nuts are caloric, but these calories work for your brain. Calorie quality is more important than quantity. Imagine the difference between empty calories from sweets and nutritious calories from pine nuts. The first are stored as fat, the second nourish the brain. Another myth is that nuts can replace full nutrition. Pine nuts are a supplement to a balanced diet, not a replacement. They work best in combination with other beneficial products: fish, vegetables, fruits, whole grains. Imagine a symphony orchestra where each instrument is important. Pine nuts are an important but not the only note in the healthy eating symphony. Some think pine nut effects appear immediately. Actually, noticeable improvement requires 2 to 3 weeks of regular consumption. The brain is a complex system that needs time for adaptation and recovery. Patience and consistency are keys to success. Imagine an athlete who trains every day. Results don't come immediately, but they definitely come. Same with pine nuts. Let's talk about integrating pine nuts into a busy schedule. Many think they don't have time for proper nutrition. Pine nuts are an ideal snack for busy people. They can be carried around, require no preparation, and store at room temperature. Imagine a manager who eats a handful of pine nuts between meetings. His brain receives necessary nourishment for the next important decision. You can pre-portion nuts into small containers for a week. This takes 5 minutes but provides constant access to brain fuel. Adding pine nuts to salads and yogurts requires no additional time but significantly increases dish nutritional value. Imagine a business lunch where instead of regular salad you eat salad with pine nuts. Your brain gets an impulse for a productive day. In conclusion, let's talk about global impact. If more people consume pine nuts, this could change society. Imagine a world where people make more balanced decisions, are more creative, and less prone to stress. Pine nuts can contribute to such a future. Healthy brains create a healthy society. Innovations, art, science, all are products of the human mind working at full capacity. Imagine the next breakthrough in medicine or technology. Perhaps it will be made by someone whose brain is nourished by pine nuts. Each of us can become part of this movement toward a better future. Start with yourself, start with pine nuts.